Hello.
I swear, every time we start, I am never in the camera view.
Why?
You're trying to steal the camera time.
What are you talking about?
Here I am now.
Here we are. Today is on Labor Day. We usually don't have a show on Labor Day, but
sorry, the printers.
Because we missed last week, we decided to have it this week.
Well, we didn't decide.
Who decided?
Whatever happened with that electric
what happened
pole,
with
because, yeah.
Yes. Because last week, obviously, we didn't have a show because something happened with the electric. Somebody knocked a pole down, and when they knocked the pole down, they knocked some cable down. Therefore, we couldn't have a show because we didn't have any service. But here we are,
just gonna
live.
Wait for the printer to stop.
Live and in color.
Okay, I think it's done.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
But then again, you always do. Somebody's always asking me, how did I end up with a beautiful woman like you?
If he had $10 for every time he was asked that question, he would be a millionaire.
Oh, I'll buy you a Mercedes or something like that. It's an old joke between us. So we had a busy week. We started the gymnastics again only for the team, but it was busy, and the last couple of days of the gymnastics was very enjoyable to me. Seeing the younger kids that are coming up, getting better.
Yeah.
And the other girls too. They, things are coming together. I was a little frustrated there for a bit, but they're coming together.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach or a teacher, it's not all going to be sunshine and roses. You're going to have days where they're more challenging, days where it's like pure, just fun and energy from the kids. So, you just got to take it all in stride. And I mean, who am I to give you advice? You've been working with children for longer than I have been alive. So.
You know what? You know what? We didn't even say welcome to Tweed Talk. Hello, everybody out there.
Welcome to Tweed Talks on Labor Day 2022. Yes. Today, our guest is a gentleman that I met a few years back.
Right.
A few years back, filming in Lake Placid. We filmed
Lake Placid
at the site of the 1988 Winter Olympics, I think it is.
Oh yeah, we passed there when we were filming that commercial, and you were telling me that that's where you filmed.
Yeah, and I don't think I mentioned that to him, that we were just up there again for a different shoot. But Jean-Remy Monnay is on with us today. He is actor, artistic director for the Capitol Rep Theater in Albany, New York, and also for the Troy Foundry Theatre. He's producing artistic director for the Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York, and the list goes on. But this is a phenomenal talent, and I kept seeing his posts with for Flying West that just closed, but we're going to be talking about that, any of his upcoming projects, and how he got started. I'm curious and how he got started in theater. And all
me
that
too. It's always interesting to find out what made people do what they do.
Yes.
Yes. So let's bring him on.
Without we have to speak French. Without further ado.
Okay,
let's bring on Jean-Remy Monnay.
There we go.
Hello, Crystal and Pedro. Finally, I'm talking to you, Pedro.
Hey, we neighbors, we cousins.
We are. And my childhood friend, actually, one of them, his name is Pedro, which is the same spelling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and yeah, every time I see that name, when you two are on, and I always remember the name. So it's so great to be here.
It's funny. We were talking to one of our guests one time, and he confused me with a Chinese guy named Pedro Chan.
Okay.
Confuse you?
Yeah, he said Pedro Chan. No, he kept calling me Pedro Chan because he forgot he wasn't talking to his friend. But anyway, there you go. That's a little history.
Okay. There. Should I start calling you Pedro Chen?
No. There is already a Pedro Chan, so I don't want to take his name. So how you been?
Good. I mean, really, really great. It's so much going on now.
Uh-huh.
Now at this minute and the last few years, all great things happening, things that 30, 40 years ago, I prayed, I asked God for, and I was going after them, chasing them, and those things are happening now, to me, and it's a lot, but I'm not complaining because I asked God for those things. So, and I'm
right.
Yeah, so
it's better to be overwhelmed than underwhelmed.
Big time, yes.
Yeah. Some people, I got too much to do, and some people, I have nothing to do.
Yes.
Oh no! Look, I can bring it down if I want to, but I want to have too much to do. Especially, I retired from the state just so I can do too much. So,
really? What did you do? What did you do for the state?
I started working for the state in 1988. Now you know my age, and I worked 30 years with the state, and I always work in HR. HR work, different things, in HR. And then I worked 30 years, and then I was able to retire at 55. I had 30 years with my 55. I just took it and go because I had better things to do.
You're not 55.
So you retired last year.
I'm not
55. You're not 55. When he told me that, so I was chatting with him last week on the phone.
That was 4 years ago, Crystal. 4 years ago, I was 55.
That's impossible. What? That is impossible.
I wanted you to believe me. That's why I left this. I want to look like Pedro here. You see?
He made me roll this.
Wow. Okay. All right. If you say it was 4 years ago, okay.
You can't retire before 55 unless it's medical retirement. But yeah, I worked 30 years for the state in 1988.
Wow.
I started.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So you were born in Haiti? Were you born there?
Right next to your home, right next to the. Yep. I was born in Haiti. You want the year too, Crystal?
No. You don't have to give the year. I believe you.
Yeah, I was born in Haiti, and then I came here in the United States on May 18, 1982.
You came in 82. Okay.
Yeah, and then my mother's been up here in the state since the 70s, and she came here and she left us. I was 7, 8, 9 years old. I don't remember. And then and when we were 18, me and my brothers and sisters, and she said, "Okay, enough is enough. I want my babies home where she is." So she brought us here.
So we have a similar story because my mother had enough also when I was about 14, and then she said, "Okay, enough is enough." That's a story for another day. But but that's how I ended up here. So how was the difference when you came here? And
let me tell you. Let me tell you, when I came here in May 18, believe it or not, there was some snow on the ground at JFK Airport. Just think, straight from Haiti or Dominican Republic, come here, first time you see snow. Okay, come here. My mother had to bring a coat, a jacket. at the airport, yeah, for us, so we don't catch cold. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And one of the story I always tell people, because as a kid, my mother has brothers and sisters, always call her Sister Yvette. Yvette is her name. And but us as children, we grow up watching our uncle and our uncle and calling her sister. So we always call her Sister Yvette also. We never call her mother. So my grandmother is the person we call, mother. She kind of raised us. Now, just know, since I was born until I'm 18 years old, she picked me up at the airport, me and my brother, and she said, "Oh, by the way, the sister thing stays right here at the airport." Oh. And I had to start calling her mother at the airport at 18 years old. I never called her that before.
Wow.
So, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is coming here from even though English was always my favorite subject in school in Haiti, because just like here, you're taking French and Spanish in school, so English, it was a course you have to take. So it's always one of my favorite courses in school. So I always like it, but still, I did not speak the language coming here from Haiti straight. I've been doing theater since I was 8, 9 years old, and then coming to a country now at 18, and I don't, I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't speak the language. How am I going to do my thing, acting? I was performing with a Haitian troupe for a couple of years in French and Creole and a little Spanish. I did a play in Spanish. I didn't even speak Spanish. I just learned.
You just learned the lines. Yeah.
I just learned the lines. And because it's so close to French, I understand a lot of it when I read it, you know what I'm saying? So, so the difference is I didn't speak the language, and as a Black man, you had to deal with racism and stuff. And so other than that, that's not something that has changed since then. But the English part of it, I speak a little bit English now, so that's better.
Well, you're doing quite well. You're doing quite well. So where did the love from acting come from?
The love from acting, I don't know, maybe it was always in me, because I remember I grew up in a small town named Sodo, which is French for Ville Bonheur. Ville Bonheur. I'm sorry, French. Sodo is French for waterfall. That's French for waterfall, because in the town named Ville Bonheur, there is a waterfall that people all over the country visited every year.
Wow.
It's known for the waterfall. Okay, you can Google it, waterfall Sodo, and it's known for the waterfall. People all over the country and even other countries visit it every year. So that's where I grew up. As a kid, I went to school there until I was 12 and moved to the bigger cities. And in school, I was always the popular kid, writing poetry for the girl, poetry for the writing a poem for this guy to give to this girl. So I've been doing that, writing little poems, and the next thing you know, me and other people starting to do plays. And I really don't know how that started. I just know I started at that age. They would take me from the boys' school and going to perform in the girls' school, doing poetry, different things, and it stays in me. And I had my brother who was always in the farm with my grandfather, taking care of the animal and all this stuff. Me, I was on stage somewhere. So they never. I'm sure you guys know, my parents, because we're into the art, even as that age, they always thought that we'll always be lazy, we'll never be anything. You know what I'm saying? Because theater, that's not a habit. That's not something feed you. But it's always in me, and I always believe some people tell me I can't do something, then you just fueling me more. You just give me more motivation to do it.
Right.
I love that.
I can't believe everything that you said just now.
I knew you were going to say
because
that.
My wife looked at me and said, "Wow, that's like your story."
It is your story.
Yeah,
exactly.
I told you, that's why I wanted to look like you, Pedro.
Yeah, this was for a role, and then
Mhm.
my wife liked it, so we never, took it
Oh, you
out.
see, that's trouble, Pedro, because I left this. I
Mhm.
was doing the Gilded Age a couple of, just
Oh, okay.
and I had to have that. That's why I
Mhm.
Yeah.
left it about a couple of months ago. I, I did a background once, and then I was mostly doing, standing for the black character, the black family,
Mhm.
and so after I was done, I looked in the mirror. I was about, to shave it. Anyway, and I kind of like it. So, some people say they like
Mhm.
it, and I kind of think I'd like a change sometime too. So I just decided to keep it for a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no bigger compliment than a good-looking guy saying that I want to look like you.
Hey, you are. I love watching you two guys. Every time you guys, you two, the posts, it's just so wonderful, so lovely to see that. And I can tell it's not just showing up for social media for people, it's real. Because
Mhm.
there are people who do those kind of things, and then when the TV is off, the computer is off, they go their separate ways. But I don't see that in you guys. So it's I enjoy watching you two guys. It's yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
We
And
appreciate
a
it.
lot of people,
Yeah.
have been saying that, and I don't like being fake because eventually, it shows up.
Right,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
but and you can't help somebody unless you're real. You know.
I so believe that, and that's the story of my life. Yeah, and I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started acting when you were a youngster. I think that was within you, the way I look at it.
Right.
Because I remember when I was a kid and I went into a center where they were doing gymnastic and martial art. And one of the guys that was teaching there, he I looked at him and I said to myself, one day I'm going to be working at a center, teaching gymnastic and martial art. And I forgot about it. And then when I got older, I said, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I was doing that and I'm still doing that,
Like
obviously.
it came
You know,
through.
one day I said, I'm going to be working with kids. And sure enough.
Mhm.
So when people say what you wish or what you,
Oh, be careful what you
be
wish for.
careful what you,
Yeah.
You get
yeah,
what you wish for.
yeah, because
Mhm.
then you get it. And, so if you wish for good things happen. That's
Yeah.
why I don't understand why people have a hard time and put themselves down.
Yeah.
We gotta
Pedro,
raise people up.
yep. I took martial art I came here in 1982.
Mhm.
In 19 and I had a friend of mine. He was a martial art instructor, and I knew him back, his family from Haiti, and then I came
Mhm.
here, and he has a school for that,
Mhm.
and then I started taking it probably just a year, and I was taking it for a couple of once or twice a week for a while. So I enjoy that for a short time, and
Mhm.
it's one of those things that I always appreciate, but I just never continue it. But if I knew you way back then, I'll probably come to you to show me some moves.
Oh, I still
I
could.
always like that. Yeah.
Simplicity is the name of the game. All
Mm.
the fancy stuff, don't worry about it. The simple stuff is the stuff that work.
Yep.
This is your stories are almost like mirroring each
I
Oh,
other.
know. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, this is crazy.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
almost certain you guys are cousins. We're gonna have to start digging
Look,
into family trees and
let me
Listen,
let me, let me tell you something. I had a brother. I didn't grow up with my father, and my father was a pastor, and he was a judge, and in another town called Mio Ballet, 20 maybe 10 20 miles from Sodo, and that's where he was with his family. Because he was a judge, he was assigned to different town, every once in a while. So
Mhm.
this man was going to different town, having babies, and every town he goes to. Okay,
mm,
so
okay.
that's where, yeah. So that's where he met, my mother, and then and so now to make a long story short, I'm saying all that when I was coming here in May 18 at the airport, my father came to say goodbye, to me and my brother coming to this country. There was another, a boy 22 years older than me, or 3. He was introducing me to my brother. All those years I never knew. He was telling me, say, hey, introducing me to a brother called Napoleon. Okay, first time I'm meeting my brother on the way to the United States.
Wow. This is too eerie. This is freaky. Yeah.
This is freaky. Now I'm going to tell you why, because when I left Dominican, my father had remarried.
Oh my God!
And I had 2 brothers and a sister that I never met, and I just met my sister maybe 3 years ago.
Whoa.
For the first time.
A little before the pandemic.
Yeah, a little before the pandemic, for the first time. And my brother had met a couple of years back, but again, for the first time. So I never met him until they came up here. I didn't even know their sister until they became doctors.
I'm sorry, Crystal, you look like you don't know what.
This is crazy. This is so crazy.
Yeah.
Parallel stories.
Yes, very much so.
I'm glad this is happening, and we're talking here. Really glad. Yeah. So I think you asked me about theater. What started me to get back to the subject.
We're gonna get back.
Yeah.
I'm sure more between us. It's gonna, it's gonna come up. So so when I came here, I was doing theater all until Do you play soccer, Pedro?
Do I have a what?
Soccer.
Do you play soccer?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So we don't have that in common. So I always play soccer in Haiti. So I came here and I was in Haiti, playing soccer all my life, and I almost make the national team too, but I didn't because I came here in the United States. But I was always doing theater, but most of the theater that I was doing was always political. So it's fun theater, but always political, which was always on me. As I was always, I didn't know I was, an activist, even in my own country, fighting, against the government, but I do it my way. If you're an activist, you there's different style. You can be on the street, you can sing it, you can write, you can put it on stage. Me, I was always, it always has a little politics in it, and because we grew up, as you know, under the dictatorship, under the Duvalier. So it was you never had freedom to say what you want to say.
Right.
So through my theater acting, so I was always doing that. So which is why I came here in this country. When I couldn't do that because of the language, it was pretty tough. I performed with the Haitian troupe, doing the same thing, political, performances, and then I started working for the state in 1988 to 90, and then I moved up here in 97 in the capital region, and I did take a break from theater a little bit, and then I went back to Schenectady Community College to because I did not want to let language stop me from doing my thing. And then I had too many people when I came here telling me, oh, if you don't change your accent, if you don't, you're not going to get parts in plays. And like I said earlier, that's all I need to hear. Tell me I can't do something if I want to do it. I'm not going to do anything to prove to you if that's not what I want to do. But if that's something I want to do and you're telling me I can't do it, for whatever the reason, or because of my accent and language, I'm gonna make it happen. Okay. So all those things, I got that from friends, and so I went back to Schenectady Community College to for theater, but it was mostly to help me with the language. So I did it, and in 1999, I did my first play ever in English. And at Hubert Hall Theater Company in Cambridge, New York. Yeah. So that's how I start.
Congratulations.
I just think that's so amazing, because you went from just being in the the actors realm in the Capital District, and now look at the trajectory that your career is on now, where you're the head of these troupes, and I just find that so amazing. So how did that happen from you being on stage to wanting to be create your not necessarily create your own work, but bringing voice to the work of these different writers?
Well, that's easy, and that's probably the most important, one of the a very important questions, because when I started in 1999, I was going to to Hubert Hall. I was in Albany, and then and I started looking around. I was getting a lot of parts in plays because I was one of a few black actors in the area in 1999.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Yeah.
Okay, I was one of a few. I could count my fingers, but it was good for me for a couple of years because I was going to Hubert Hall. People said, "Oh, you're going up there and in a boondock, redneck. They're not gonna want you there because you're black." I said, "Well, I don't have that problem. I'm gonna go, and when I get there, I'll find out. If they don't need me, then I'll just say heck with you. I can come back home." But they were very welcoming, and they work with me. They work with me. I work with them. The great people at the theater. Of course, there are some people. They say, "Oh, you're my first black friend here and there." You hear that a lot. I say, good. You're gonna get more, and I'm gonna give you more. And but it was for 3 years, actually longer. For 3 years, I work on myself. I was trying to put myself out there. I went to Kingston and I went to Newport, New York, doing plays there, traveling, coming back at 3 in the morning. I had to get to work at 7 in the morning. I'm getting home at 3. Sometimes I can't make it home because the snow, I can't drive it home. But I know I was building something, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I had to play the tree, I had whatever part, they gave me, I was doing it. And then after 2 years, Hubert Hall, the artistic director, Kevin McGuire, said, "Remy, I think you're ready. You need to be out there." So I started auditioning for other, community theater, but still, I was like the only one out of a couple, a person of color. So after a while, in 2009, I said, "Okay, it's been good for me, but I need to stop being selfish in a way because there's a need to be more of us."
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So in 2009, and then me and a friend, we decided, let's start our own because we need to bring more diversity in the area. We need to talk to, go out there and talk to kids and adults because guys, especially black people, we have, we're born to, we have it in us, we just need a chance, somebody to give us a chance, and nobody was giving us a chance, so we had to do it on our own. So I decided, let's start a theater company and let's start having reading in libraries and play, and cafes. And I started talking to everybody. I'm at the supermarket. I'm talking to kids. So we decided to start the theater company. It was originally named Soul Rebel Performance Troupe. Okay. And then in 2009, Soul Rebel come from, we had to give it a name. So, and I love Bob Marley. Soul Rebel is one of his songs title. Okay. And then I said, let's call it Soul Rebel. Okay. And we did. And on 2009, and I was doing that part-time while I was working full-time. And then we started building it because there's this saying that says, if you build it, they will come.
They will come, yes.
Okay. So, so I started talking to people, have reading, has a cafe, monologue, and poetry, skits, and working with kids. And in the next thing you know, my first big production was Camp Logan in 2012. Okay, by 2012, I had enough Black actors to do a play with 7 actors in it. Now to jump ahead a little bit, I can put on any plays now. I mean, there are some other group that's doing the same thing now, which is a great thing. We have more people, BIPOC, Black troops doing more for the community, and it's getting better and better. Now we can do, any play. I can find any actors I want and put on any shows. And the other thing too, that's two reasons why I started the theater company. And the first reason originally was to bring more people of color on the local stage. The second reason, as much as I love theater, I'm not a Shakespeare person. I'm not gonna do, I'm not Our Town or A Streetcar Named Desire. Whatever play I do, it has to be something, about our story, our struggle, things, and to fight racism and to fight, injustice. They're fun play, but it has to have a meaning. Flying West, for example, it's a fun play, powerful play about women in the 1860s, about in Nicodemus, Texas. If you guys check later on the Homestead Act of 1860, you can learn about it. So those are those women that decided to give people land, and if they go west, they give you land. And then those Black people, they went west. They had their own little town, in Nicodemus, and they bought land, and then they refused to let men or white men take it away from them, because what they do, they give them a piece of land, they buy it. And then once you start, producing in a building and have all kind of stuff in it, now the white men want to take it back from you. Okay? So they had to fight for it, and the play was about those women in Nicodemus, Texas, and this is the kind of story we do about our struggle. Camp Logan was about Black soldiers. It was based in Camp Logan, Texas, World War I. To go, with World War I, they were there in training to go to the war, but because they were Black, they weren't welcome in Texas. They were being harassed by local white, and there was a riot. They ended up hanging 20 Black soldiers. Okay, so the play was based on that. And every play we do has to have a meaning. Some are very serious, some it's funny, but it has to be something to educate people, to tell our stories, because they don't tell those stories in school. They're not going to let you know that. So right. When I produce a play, that's to tell that story. I put it on stage. Okay, that's how I protest. I put it on stage, whether through me or through somebody else.
So many different ways to affect change.
Right.
And I think art is one of the, and I use this word loosely, is one of the safest ways, because people are not, you're not protesting and yelling in their face.
Right.
You're speaking quietly. You might be singing a song and people are like, oh, did you hear that line, what they just said? And then it gets inside. So I feel like that's one of the greatest ways to reach people is through art.
Yeah, and it works every time. Even when I do those shows, even the actors themselves, they enjoy that because they're learning something they didn't know themselves because they had to do research themselves, and I had to, I had to make sure I tell them, you're not here to just being on stage. One thing I always tell, they're just throwing lines out there. I say, guys, you're not just here to perform through a line. You're here to educate people. Just make sure everything you say is clear, to send a message. Right. So when I'm directing, I'm not just directing for good performance. I'm directing, make sure you tell the story, let the people know, feel it. Okay, so you
got to project those emotions out there. And it's funny because you were saying, I was so into what you were saying that I totally became engulfed and enveloped by it that I forgot the question that I wanted to ask. I totally agree with you. We had to tell our story. Like when you started talking, and my wife started looking at me because some of the same story that you were saying were my story.
Right.
And when you were saying about telling our story, you know how similar our story is. Nobody else could tell that story but us.
Right, exactly.
You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? So I like what you're doing, and I like the fact that if there's no meaning behind what you're doing,
Yeah.
then it doesn't
There's no point in
it
doing
doesn't
it.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has to have it, and that's, that's those are the two reasons why I'm in it. Meaningful theater, and bring more, working, bring more people, more the kids. They love the art, but but nobody was giving them a chance. And as I have the theater company, it says a Black theater troupe, but we are a community theater. We have new actors. I have at least one or two brand new actors in almost every play that I do. Okay, and sometimes it's all new actors. Sometimes, certain plays you have to have experienced actors to work with. It's not, but I want to make sure that this place it's getting better. We have a long way to go, but that's all I do, and I don't plan to go anywhere. I want to say, yeah.
Reaching the kids, I think, is so important because, like you said, it's like they have like this natural love to perform,
Right.
and they don't really know what it is, but if you give them like an outlet,
yeah,
and that's the next generation, and I just love that because kids, they're just so honest with their feelings.
They are, yeah, and it's always great to watch, watching kids, because we've done it in a few years ago. We had just one production just for kids, anywhere from 8 to to 15. We had a variety show just for kids. They can come in and perform anything they want, not whether it's skit, a monologue, or poems, whether they play guitar or dance, and we work with them. So we're planning to do the same thing again, not the next season because we're still trying to slow down because of COVID. Maybe the next couple of seasons, the season after next. The plan is to do one production to have a show just for kids, and every season, we'll have one of the production will be. We have 4 productions this season, and one of them in the future will be one production will be for kids.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that. So what do you have coming up for the Black Theater Troupe? Coming up.
I don't know. The Black Theater Troupe always have something going. Really, we just finished with Flying West.
Yes.
And right now, there's a community things going that the Black Theater Troupe is involved. We call the Pearl Side, Capitol Rep Theater, the Troy Foundry Theatre, and the Black Theater Troupe, and some other organization in the area. There's a big event between September 8th and 9th. I posted it on my Facebook, called a Pearl Side. And there's going to be all kind of events going, in poetry slam and vendors and theater. So the Black Theater Troupe is performing a 15-minute piece on Friday the 9th and Friday September 9 at 7:30 and Sunday the 11th at 3. And so I was directing Flying West and this one at the same time the last couple of weeks. So that one is coming up. But the main production for the Black Theater Troupe they call Knock Me a Kiss. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yep.
Hold it.
It's based. It's on our website. It's based on the story is about W.E.B. Du Bois' daughter, relationship, with the man and stuff like that. And there's, of course, W.E.B. Du Bois. There's some our stories in there telling the story. It's a love story, and and it's also very powerful. We had a great cast. That one is coming up October 28th, going through November 6th, and then the next one is going to be in February, February 28th through March something. For it runs for 2 weeks, Thursday through Sunday, starting at the end of February.
Mhm.
And then the last show for our season will be Hoodoo Love. It has a little voodoo in there, you know. Hey, I'm from Haiti, Pedro.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so it's a great story also. But what I'm doing now, I'm also directing the piano lesson for University of Albany coming up in November.
Piano lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, hold it up for a second.
We just want to. There we go. The piano lesson by August Wilson. Wonderful.
There we
And
go.
for the University of Albany, you said, right?
Yep, I'm directing it for University of Albany. I just sent them my rehearsal schedule. We're starting toward the end of September, starting rehearsal. And so I have my own, I'm producing my own show and directing one for University of Albany, and almost like the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That is wonderful.
Fantastic.
I ended up accidentally doing something similar to that a few years ago, doing a production and then doing multiple productions at once. And
I loved it.
You what?
I love that
Production or that I was never home?
Oh, you're getting yourself in trouble here, Pedro.
No, I missed her a lot, but I went to see that, and I actually recorded some of it. I actually had the whole thing on
last
on
summer,
video. Yes.
yeah.
And that was a powerful production. I love powerful production.
Mm-hmm.
What
With
was
a
it?
meaning behind it. It was
What was
all
it?
woman.
Yeah. Yes, that was a good one for historic Huguenot Street.
What was it, Crystal?
Okay.
Where your sound went off.
I didn't touch anything. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yep, that was very strange.
Oh.
It just went away for like a second.
For a second.
What was the production you said you did?
It was called Pathway to the Ballot Box.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was for historic Huguenot Street, and it was about 6 women, loosely based on 6 women that came through the New Paltz area in the 1800s to the early 1900s, and it was an amazing. I played a freed slave, and
Right.
her 15-minute monologue was
It was powerful.
not for the faint of heart.
It was very powerful. It made some people cry. I took my mother to see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm your husband. It was just the people that were there
Right.
were, sobbing and I'm hiding because, I'm supposed to be a man.
Pedro's, I've been talking to Crystal. I can't wait for her to be in one of my productions. It's a little far, but I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes.
I mean,
Likewise.
even if it's something small, not a big commitment, something that, because you're far, I definitely, I'm going to make it happen. I hope that happens. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, you won't regret it. And I'm just saying that.
Oh, I know.
I send you some video of that production because I have it.
I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna post Daryl's comment. He said he came in late, but okay. So
Daryl.
hi, Daryl.
Oh, hey, Daryl. Nice meeting you, Daryl.
Daryl and I go way back,
Mhm.
way before my wife. We used to work. I wrote the routines for the Special Olympian way back when, over 40 years ago.
Probably in the 80s.
Yeah. So that's when I met Daryl.
Wow, cool. That's way back. That's when I came to this country.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Crystal said the 80s. I don't know. I just assumed that was that back then?
Yeah,
You wrote it. It was in the 80s that you wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun with that. Daryl said that I used to be crazy, but
oh, what happened? And then you met Crystal, right?
Yeah,
yeah, way later
he's
after that.
crazier now.
Let me see what else he's saying.
He's saying something back to Remy.
Oh, great. Uh, uh, he's from upstate New York, or used to. Yeah, great. I'm right there in Albany and Daryl.
Yeah, he's from Oswego.
Oneonta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a couple of hours away. I
Mhm.
think west or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We Monticello, which is the center, is like 2 hours that way, 2 hours that. We're 2 hours from everything.
We're 2 hours from everything.
From
yeah.
everything. We're
2
just
hours
right
from
in the middle.
Connecticut, 2 hours from the city, 2
2
hours
hours,
from
yeah.
Albany.
Yeah.
That's it.
Listen, Remy, we really appreciate having you on. When we post this video, we'll make sure that all of the productions that you have coming up, that information will be posted there. I'm
Okay.
hoping that we can get to see a production soon, hopefully.
It will happen, and it will be great meeting you in person. You guys, definitely. It was funny, when I met Crystal, way in Lake Placid, all those years, and that was the first time when I actually talked to you on the phone. It was the first time. I mean, I don't remember how you sound like back then.
Right.
I've been watching you guys on social media. A lot, but I never know exactly what you guys sound like until it was weird listening to you.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was a very long time ago, and we hadn't spoken since then. It was just sort of like comments here and there on Facebook.
Yeah.
It was
I was in Vegas that time when you were filming up there.
You didn't want to go.
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What was the film? I don't even remember. What did
it was a commercial, right?
Was it a commercial? That was a commercial, was it?
Actually, it was a commercial. It was a local commercial for they wanted people to come to.
Was it I Love New York commercial? Was it I Love New York commercial?
Yes,
it
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a dog. There was the what do you call that? The dog pulling your dog sledge, whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah. They had that. They had
ice fishing.
Yes. Did you go ice fishing?
Yeah. And you know what? After that, I had to drive to Albany. My feet was so cold driving, and my feet was cold until I went home. My feet was still cold. And after that, I said, all right, this is not for this black man. I'm not doing it again. No. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, my friend, we thank you so much for joining us live on Tweed Talks. Have a great night, and we will be in touch.
Thank you. It was so great talking to you guys, and I hope to see you soon again.
Yes, likewise. Have a good night.
Well, people, if you are watching us through YouTube, make sure that you click and subscribe on down there.
Nice.
Where is it? Right there.
I am very excited just to, because when I had done, when I did that production last year for Historic Huguenot Street, and then the summer before that, when I worked with at the Denizen Theater, these theater organizations are sort of. She's playing the game.
Daughter playing a game.
Yeah. They're sort of not stepping away from, but they're bringing more attention to productions that are not really like mainstream, that have like a political, political inflections, and they have, talk about voters' rights, the character that I played, women's oppression, things like that.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little piece of that, and we played on the show one day. Just a little piece of your performance in that. Oh. I'm going to send it to him. I'm going to send it to Jim.
That was a wonderful interview.
We liked that interview. I can't believe how much we had in common.
Wow.
And we didn't even get into the whole thing, but
I
similar stories.
I think if you did your ancestry, your lineage, and him likewise, because your father was Haitian, right?
Yeah,
Haitian,
well, my father was Dominican, but
Dominican, okay.
but his parents,
Okay.
So I believe one of his parents was Haitian.
So then he was at least half Haitian.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I just found that out.
Right.
Not too long ago.
That would be.
That's awesome.
We need to do your ancestry. We need to do your lineage.
Yeah.
I bet it's full of like.
Yeah, we got to find out because Williams,
stuff.
I'm worried about that.
So, listen, we appreciate you guys joining us.
Yes.
On Tweed Talks. Once again, we're going to post all this information for Remy's productions that are coming up from September through, what do we have? Through next year, through March. So we will post all that information. If you guys are in the Capital District area or you want to venture into the Capital District area to see a great live theater production with meaning, we'll also post like the links for websites and stuff like that so you guys can follow him. Mm-hmm. Amazing talent. Amazing.
Wow, we talked for a long time.
We did?
Yes. It's almost an hour. And it was
time flies
enjoyable.
when you're having fun.
Yeah. Okay, so people, we have some other shows coming up. Mm-hmm. We had to rearrange certain things because life happens.
Yeah.
And so one of the guests that is coming, and I have to talk to him because something happened in his family. So we have to find out if he's still going to come on. But he will come on at another time if we have to push it back.
Yeah.
But anyway, we love you out there. Keep love alive. You know how people say keep hope alive? Keep love alive.
Oh, wait. I'm going the wrong way.
There we
go.
If you keep love alive,
do it the other way. Yeah.
Then we have hope. And with that, we're going to say
love, peace,
and harmony.
Harmony.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.